So today, we're going to do something very special. A couple days ago, I was on an episode of Plat Chat. That episode of Plat Chat lasted way longer than I thought it would. And we ranked all of the teams in a way too early tier list. Now, I saw that one of the members of that show, Will Chobra, also made his list, correcting the list based on what he thought. And so I'm here to do the same, correcting it with my list. I'm also here with my Twitch and YouTube chat, so they can also tell you that I'm wrong as I'm doing this, right? And the first thing, this is the list. This is the list that we ended up with on Plat Chat. And obviously, I was a part of that, and I agree with some of it because it was my opinions on some of it. But I also disagree with some of it because some of it I disagreed with, right? The first thing, and this is funny. This is funny because Chobra brought this up at the start of the episode, and I actually kind of agreed, but just really didn't say anything, which is that there are too many teams in S tier here. And probably too many teams in F tier. And in reality, there should be more in the middle. Because the first thing I want to say is, how many S tier teams were there last year? I would argue 4 teams did. Sentinels, EDG, Heretics, and Gen G. I don't think anyone else had an S tier year. And so therefore, if you kind of send that forward for what's going to happen this next year, probably a similar sort of thing will happen. So straight off the bat, I want to eliminate some of these S tier teams. If we see an S tier team as going probably either deep in multiple internationals or winning an international, that is what constitutes an S tier team, for a season. With that said, which of these teams in the S tier do I think doesn't belong in that kind of conversation? And that's an interesting choice because you might just think, oh, you'll take down these 3. And here's the thing. The first one I want to talk about is Vitality. Because Vitality, on Plat Chat, I compared to Leviathan. And I think the season will somewhat play out like Leviathan, who I would say was the highest A-tier team of last year. So that's where I'm going to put Vitality, as the highest A-tier team. I mean, look, I think Sen, I like their... I'd probably be more willing to keep Sen. I know I have a reputation as a Sen hater. I think I'd be more willing to keep Sen than NRG, to be honest, in the S-tier. Straight up. Sen are starting from a more proven point. I know they're making roster moves, but I think one of their roster moves is an upgrade. And so then we're left with this. I'm keeping Heretics and Gen G. Those are the 2 that I know that I'm keeping there. These 3, I'm going to have more of a think about. I need to get at least rid of one of them. G2 did get a pretty big upgrade. That's true. Jorg is pretty good. G2 will choke. Sen go to A. I mean, if anyone is going to put Sentinels in A, it probably is me. So I will. But Vitality have to stay at the top of the A tier because they are Leviathan. Right, okay. I think I've fixed the S tier. I'm still a bit wary about EDG. I think I'm going to put EDG there. Right, moving on to the A tier. And Vitality, fine. Sen, fine. Obviously, the teams we've moved down, all happy with. Paper Rex, who, by the way, the time that we're recording this, we just watched Paper Rex lose 2-0 to DFM. So keep that in mind. That might be clouding our thoughts somewhat. So I'm just going to move Paper Rex down 1. Gonna move Paper X down 1. I'm also gonna move Lev down the A tier. I'm not gonna move them out of the A tier, but I'm gonna move them down the A tier. I'm also probably gonna move Fnatic up above Paper X. Not T1, but above Paper X. Footer staying as a low A tier team. I think Talon probably should be in B. Like, I think they're more of a top B, which at the time we did say on Plat Chat. Like, they are either a low A, high B team. We all kind of agreed on that, but we just ended up putting them in A. MIBR as well, I think. I just don't know enough about their other players that I think I also have to put them in B. Obviously, they have Aspas, but one player a team does not make. Okay, going through the B tier, obviously, again, the teams that we just added, fine with. 100 Thieves, DRX, Crew, Simpreza, now Nongshim, all fine. I think I'm pretty happy with those there. I'm happy with Team Secret being the last B tier team. I think that's the perfect place for them. I am a bit wary of Karmine Core and how good Karmine Core will be. I think I'm going to move them down the B tier. Maybe not out of the B tier, but certainly down here. One thing I do want to do as well, though, is I want to move Trace up. I want to, and this will be kind of a theme here with me. I think that China will be better this year. Just on the whole, I think China will be better this year. The reason that I think that if you look at like the rosters from the first season of the VCT, right? If you think about those 2020, what was it, 3 rosters for a lot of the teams, they weren't that good, right? Well, that was the first season for China in the VCT, right? You've got a whole of a bunch new rosters. Some of them aren't going to be that good, obviously, right? But you're going to get more changes and people are going to find out who the actual best players are and you're going to get them in there instead. I think the level for improvement is just so massive that's going to come in like this year and next year that I really think that by the end of the season, I mean, we've already had a Chinese team win an international tournament, so I'm not talking crazy here. I think by the end of the season, you know, we'll probably have 4 regions that are, you know, somewhat equal. I really do think that. So I'm going to move Trace up. Are they A tier yet? I'm not sure I can quite trust them to be A tier, but I will move them up. And I'll just... Well, FPX, FPX I actually have my doubts about, so I won't move them up. But I will, of course, be moving Wolves up. Wolves should have been in this... I mean, obviously, I was joking that, you know, they should have been up here. But in reality, I do think that they will be... And maybe this is a bit of copium. But I do think they'll be, you know, in here. In the C tier, we have a kind of small C tier, though. You got Giants, fine. BLG, Navi, Loud, EG. I do want to move Loud down, to be honest. The more I've thought about Loud, I do want to move them down. So we've just watched DFM beat Paper Rex. And look, I know in Plat Chat we said, oh, we can't take off-season events into account. But let's be real, none of us on Plat Chat, maybe Chobra did, I don't know. But certainly me, Sideshow, and Sliggy did not know enough about the DFM players that they were bringing in. They are good.
100 bots just lost to trust in Plug and Asuna got diffed. How in the name of is 100 thieves still in B?
Look, 100 thieves, okay, maybe they should be moved down. Let's move them down. Sure. And like, again, we said on Plat Chat, oh, we're not going to let, you know, off-season results, you know, take into account the off-season results or anything like that. But let's be real, Cloud9 are here in the B tier because of off-season results. So maybe in my tier list, maybe I just take the off-season results into account. I mean, let's just get DFM in this B tier. Right, in the C tier, I think I have a bit more hope for BBL than that. Again, I believe in kind of a Chinese resurgence, so I'm just going to move. I'm just in general, although I think DRG will just be bad. But let's just move up some random Chinese teams. Let's just feather them up in general. You know what? F it. G-Lai, you'll go there. Will FPX still be good? You know what? I have my doubts about FPX. I know I'm on this kind of Chinese everyone up bandwagon, but I'm actually going to move FPX down. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with the C tier. The D tier, I'm not a Zeta believer, I'll be honest. I have more hope for 2G than I do probably Liquid, to be honest, as well. Yeah, let's put 2G there. Okay, I'll keep it in D for now.
Move GE up. I believe in elevated GE will finally have proper comms and execute, no longer solo Viper bind.
I agree with you. So Elevated, who I do a podcast with, is now the assistant coach of Global Esports. So I have to move them up. I have to believe in Global at least somewhat. Let's at least put them in C tier. How many F tier teams should there be? If there's only 4 S tier teams, how many F tier teams should there be? You know what? I was the one arguing for Furia being an F the whole time. And I'm sticking with it. They're going to the bottom of the list. But Apex, I'm not a misogynist like Sideshow, so we'll put them at the bottom of D. And I'll just pick one of these random 3 Chinese teams. I mean, Tyloo. Go on, prove me wrong, Tyloo. You can go there too, and we'll have 4 teams here at the bottom. But Furia can't be worse than AG. AG have to be at the bottom of the list. Oh, Sliggy's here? DFM is B now? Did you just watch the same game I just did? Please move Paper Rex down. I'm already getting called a Paper Rex hater. I can't move them down further than this. Said you are a fraud? Look, when Crew are dog shit, I'll call him a fraud. You all agreed with me on DFM. See, you're all DFM fans.
Move on team from the B tier down so we get at least some symmetry.
Right, okay. You want to move one team from the B tier down. What team should we move down? You're all going to say 100 Thieves. My thing is Calming Core. I want to put Calming Core down there. I'm doing it. Calming Core. This is what you want. This is the bell curve, right? Most teams are gonna be in this middle pack. That's just where most teams are gonna be. That's how you're gonna have a couple elite teams, couple bad teams, and most in the pack. All gamers overrated. I think I'm happy with the list. I think I'm happy with that list. Explain Boom? No.